Good Tuesday morning, man. All our church family and friends. Hope everybody's having a great start to the week here, and hope you got to be with us on Sunday and hear the message that the Lord gave Brother Jason, and talking about the one thing needed, and out of Luke chapter 10, and talking about Mary and Martha. And hope you got to be with us. Hope you got to enjoy that. We're blessed. Blessed people, blessed church. Hope you got to catch Pastor's devotion on Monday morning. And one point that he brought out, he kind of ended with, and I really like that. And it's kind of something that I'm going to go on to today in point number one of Jason's, the one thing that's needful. And Pastor mentioned that my service is important, but being at the feet of Jesus is needed. So there was something yesterday, or Sunday morning rather, that Jay mentioned that he said, and he called it God and I time, right? God and I time. I had to look back at my note and make sure I was doing that. So, and he talked about something that's needed every single day. Get my screen pulled up here. I'm showing you, can't see my slideshow. So I seen this one thing I really liked it. I put this picture on here. One of the best gifts that we can give ourselves is time with God. And we talked about two different aspects of people here with Mary and Martha, right? We talked about people that getting cumbered down and just troubled and discouraged because of so much service, and they, felt like they was the only one working, and then the other one that seen the need to be at the feet of Jesus and to be there. So catch Brother TJ's Monday. He really kind of breaks both those down really good. So one of the best gifts that we can give ourselves is time with God. So in Luke chapter 10, and Jason used Luke 10:38 through 42, but in 42 it says this: "But one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her." So I want to talk about that God and I time, and how important it is. And it's you all know I've said it numerous times, and in my messages, my teachings, and my devotions. You all know this is Jody's favorite time of year, right? In fact, when most of you all are probably watching this video, this devotion on Tuesday morning, I will have already had some God and I time. I love this time of year, and it's, my favorite time because of my hunting and my love and passion for hunting. And so the first thing that I do when I get alone in my tree stand and, before daylight, and it's an important time for me that I find a great peace, and I find time that I just have great conversations with God and great prayer time. And I know that may seem a little different for you all, but it's something that I look forward to every day that I go. But what about the rest of the time? What about the days of the week when I get up and I'm stressed about work and I have this going on, or I feel like I've just been trying to get this done and that done? And sometimes we become overwhelmed, and, maybe even with our service for the church. And I'm going to stick with this God and I time. But, and we talk about Mary and being at the feet of Jesus, but I find myself a lot of time being Martha. I find myself finding myself in my service of getting overwhelmed sometimes and trying to do too much. And Jason mentioned that Sunday morning of why we have to remember why we're doing that. And he mentioned that me and him has had that conversation before, because there's times that I've looked and I said, hey, what's going on here? But it's so important to have that God and I time when we're in time of need and discouraged and overwhelmed, and we have to have that. As Pastor mentioned, it, the service is important, but being at the feet of Jesus, that God and I time is so needed. Jason used Psalms 46 and 10, and I'm going to give you that here in just a second. But what about the first part of chapter 46 in Psalm? It says, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in the time of trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth be removed, though the mountains be carried in the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof." He talks about all these things, the earth shaking events, the upside down. Our mind is racing. We don't know which way to turn. And then he gets down to verse 10 and he says this, and he says, at that moment, when you feel that way, sometimes we just need to slow down. We need to get at the feet of Jesus, and we just need to be still and know that he is God. Verse 10 of Psalms 46:10 says this, be still and know that I am God. I don't know who's overwhelmed today. I don't know what you've been going through. I don't know who's discouraged, who's tired, who thinks your service is you're the only one doing it. I've been there. I have been in the midst of that. I struggle with that a lot of times, and it'll take a toll on you. And in times, as Pastor mentioned, times you don't even notice in his Devotion Monday, and it creeps in. But there's still the need to be at the feet of Jesus, to be still and know that I am God. No matter what you're battling today, no matter what you're going through, no matter how overwhelmed you feel, spend time with God. That God and I time is so important. Take time today, separate yourself from everything else. Be still and let God move and speak to your heart. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Stay close to God, trust in him, be still and know who he is, know what he can do, and know the peace and the strength that he gives you. I love each and every one of you. As always, pray for me, and I'm always praying for you. God bless.